Fil Martino joins us now from the CityNews Business Center. And Phil, this may be a bit of an understatement. 2018 was a very volatile one on the markets.
Good word, for sure. And while it was a volatile year for stocks, actually, the last trading day of 2018 turned out okay, if you can believe it. On Bay Street, it was the gold, info, tech, and material sectors that led the gains. The TSX closed up by 100 points to 14,322. On Wall Street, stocks moved higher as investors held out new hope for progress in the U.S.-China trade dispute. Retailers and tech stocks led the gains. The Dow was up by 265 points to 23,327.
And Canada Goose will be heading into 2019 on a high note.
For sure. These $1,300 parkas are so popular. Here's the story now. Canada Goose shares spiked today after the company opened its first store in Beijing. Large crowds flocked to Canada Goose's new outdoor wear store in downtown Beijing. It's first in mainland China since its opening on Friday. Now this despite sub-freezing temperatures and amid escalating tensions between Canada and China following the arrest of Huawei's chief financial officer in Vancouver. Shoppers were lined up outside the two-story store today for an hour or more for a quick look at those parkas. Analysts tell Bloomberg that calls to boycott the brand due to the Huawei CFO's arrest in Canada have failed to garner much traction. Opened after a short delay, its first mainland China flagship in Beijing is already hugely popular. Shares of Canada Goose were up by 4%.
That's fascinating that customers would pick luxury over, maybe staying away from something while there are these tensions going on.
Yeah, they like their Canada Goose jackets. And I mean, if you go to Yorkdale, there's always a lineup outside of that store, even though it's not on a Christmas Day or Christmas Eve, there's always a lineup. They love those jackets.
And even though they're $1,300, like you said,
but they're so warm. And
it looks like Amazon will be expanding its footprint in the new year.
That's right. So Amazon wants to expand its stores south of the border. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that Amazon is planning to expand its Whole Foods Market portfolio by adding more stores to put more customers within its 2-hour delivery service range. According to the report, Whole Foods employees have visited regions of Western North America for potential retail spaces in parts of Idaho, southern Utah, and Wyoming, where it currently has no stores. Amazon shares were up by 1% today.
Well, forget about hitting the gym or eating healthier, words I like to hear. Many Canadians are looking to improve their financial health in 2019. That could be a resolution.
That's right. Forget the treadmill. Let's get your finances in order.
Done.
Now, according to a new poll out by CIBC, it's found that Canadians say paying down debt will be their top financial priority in the new year. Jamie Gollenbeck is with estate planning at CIBC. He says one of the things you can do to avoid getting further into debt is writing down your income and expenses for a 3-month period.
That way you can determine whether your cash flow is positive, neutral, or negative. Number 2, I would say make a plan. So if your cash flow positive, use the extra cash to pay off things like high-interest debt. If your savings are on track, then maybe then you could increase payments towards, let's say, a mortgage or something like that.
Now, he says the biggest problem with spiraling debt is the interest cost you're paying on that debt.
For sure. A great time for a fresh start.
That's right.
And the fashion world is getting a bit of a shakeup in the final hours of 2018.
Yeah, you know your Michael Kors purse? It's going to have a new name. So we're hearing that Michael Kors is changing its name to Capri. The company announced the acquisition of the Italian fashion house Versace for over $2 billion in September, less than 2 years after acquiring shoemaker Jimmy Choo. Capri Holdings is projecting $8 billion in annual sales, with most of that coming from Michael Kors. Starting Wednesday, its New York Stock Exchange ticker symbol will be CPRI. Michael Kors shares were up almost 2% today.
Back to the luxury to wrap things up. Thanks so much for that, Phil.
No problem. Thank you.
And Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
And over to Richard Southern next.